add your thoughts and reflections as you go along, and your applause, because I'm sure a lot of applause will be wanted, and it will be very challenging for our performers to do their performance, and then they may be able to see us clapping very quietly in our picture windows. But if you could be putting your applause into the chat, then it's a nice way of responding. So I'm just looking at Maddie. I'm going to go off into the activity. Does that feel comfortable to you? Are you all sorted?
Brilliant. Thanks, Sophie. And
Brilliant.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us.
Yeah, and my name's Sophie. I should have said that. And here with me is Maddie, and she and I are going to be co-hosting the session. And Maddie's also kind of doing a lot of the making it work on the live stream and keep checking in on the people viewing on live stream. And Jamie's here too, helping us make sure everything works technically brilliantly. And if me or Maddie have a problem, then he will step up, I'm sure, as the host of the event. So I think between us, hopefully it will be plain sailing from now on. So our first activity, we're going to be using Slido. Hooray! I can hear you all excited about using Slido. About time we used Slido. Oh yeah, brilliant. I'm liking the response. So we've got a Slido word cloud, and we'd like you to tell us, where in the world are you? So Maddie, I think you're going to pop that in the chat, and I think you're also going to put it in the chat for our live streamers. So tell us where in the world you are. And in a minute, I think Maddie will share what the responses in the Slido are. Is that right, Maddie? Brilliant. So I just give you a few seconds to do that. I see you all busy thinking. I'm not quite sure where I am. Not quite sure. Yeah, but where in the world are you? It'd be lovely to see what courage we have of our guests, and both on the live stream and I want to say in the studio. Can I get away with saying in the studio?
I think we could be in the studio today. I think people won't mind that. I feel like I should have a more glamorous backdrop for being in the studio, but we can all imagine, can't we?
Oh, I'm disappointed you haven't adopted the engaged kind of bright pink banner, Maddie. So, Maddie, how are we doing? Have we got some Slido results to share?
I am just finding it. I'm sorry, I'm all a bit backwards because of the delay, but if you bear with me, it will give people a bit more chance to put their answers in. Here we go.
Great, thanks, Maddie. Okay. And we're going to get a little bit of a snapshot. So I am in this twilight here in beautiful North Somerset. We've got a little bit of rain, and we've got a lot of my neighbours seem to be out on the street, which is always slightly worrying that they're all out at the same time. I feel like I'm missing some kind of public event that's happening in the street, but oh gosh, and in Fife it's pitch black already. Oh my gosh, of course. Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So a lot of people in Bristol. I mean, yeah, I say a lot. Is that two?
We might be dominating. I have to say, I'm sure there's a more elegant way of sharing this, but you'll have to forgive me. This is the best I could do. So yeah, there's our word cloud.
It's amazing though. We've got some people in Brighton. Give me a wave if you're from Brighton. Even if you're on the live stream, I don't care. I can't see you. Give us a wave. What about people in Cambridge? There's a posse from Cambridge. Brilliant to welcome you. We've got some from Anglesey. That sounds really exciting. And now my sight fails. My glasses aren't that good. So Maddie, where else have we got people from?
We've got my office. Very droll, whoever that was. Although I guess that's more unusual than normal, isn't it? If you're in an actual office, then you're the only one of us. We've got the Peak District. Someone has said Earth, which is
in the Peak District. Oh my gosh, I'd love to be in the Peak District.
Where else have we got? In the clouds, someone has said. I think I agree with you there. That's definitely how I'm feeling this afternoon, in a good way, but also in a kind of not quite sure what's going on sort of way. Fab.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're really, really welcome to this open mic night, and you're in for a treat. So before we start, we've got a little bit of a challenge for you. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I'd like you to grab something, maybe some paper, some pens, something like that. And we would like you to think about, as you're watching the performances, maybe you'd like to create something. So you might be able to create a poster, or you might be able to create a poem. You might want to share your thoughts in interpretive dance. You might want to make a cocktail that summarizes your kind of reaction to what people are talking about. I can see Nat looking at me going, why on earth would you be making a cocktail while you're, but you know, what a nice treat for after the show. And you've got about till 5:20, well, probably till about 5:30 now because we're a little late. And then at the end of the show, those people in the Zoom meeting will be particularly encouraging you to showcase your creations. So no pressure or anything, no one will be forced to do it, but it would be really great if you could do that. Now, in a moment, Maddie, I'm going to hand over to you to introduce our first performer. But before I do, whilst our performers are performing, those of us in the Zoom meeting, try and keep your mics off so that we're not disturbing or being distracting. And yeah, and keep the comments coming as the performers perform. So, Maddie, over to you for our first performer.
Thank you. Now, I'm just looking in the participant list, and I think our very first performer, Sina, is not in the meeting yet. So perhaps she might have been caught in the other meeting. So we'll give them a chance to catch up with us. So I think what we'll do, if it's all right with you, Nat, we'll come to your open mic submission first. And I think what I'm going to say is there is a warning. If you are cake, if you have particularly strong feelings about cake, I'm just going to say you might want to look away. I hope that's intriguing. And Jamie, I realise this is a bit of a quick turnaround, but is Nat's video ready to go? Okay, perfect. I'm going to spotlight you, and here we go. incredible. Such a mixed response in the chat, Nat. I'm not sure whether you've been watching, but people are really like, I really want some cake, but oh no, I see what you, I want some cake. Right, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to spotlight you so everyone can hear. Do you have any? Can you explain yourself? Basically.
Yeah, yes, I can explain myself. I can explain myself better to you guys than I could my housemate, who was just like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. So basically, there's been loads of times where I've asked questions like this, sort of in pet network meetings, and the response has always been, "Well, have you tried cake?" And it's just a really frustrating thing to have the answer to everything be, let's add cake. To me, it says that somewhere in the system there's a break, that we need to reassess what we're doing a little bit more, that cake isn't the thing that's kind of papering over all the cracks and is the solution. There's got to be other ways of doing stuff. So rather than me just standing here and screaming, "Stop saying cake," I decided to go a little bit strange and meta and weird, and that was what happened.
And we all appreciate it. Oh, thank you so much, Nat. And we're going to put that video on the festival notice board, aren't we? And see what other people make of it, because I think it's too good not to share. So thank you so much, Nat. And what I would love everyone to do is, and now I know that you can't put emojis in the chat, but there are some reactions that you can put at the bottom. Please, can you use a reaction? Or if you want to use your face as a reaction, I would love just some sort of reaction. Yeah, we've got some clapping. Oh, Claudia, you've got some cake. I'm going to spotlight you. Let's see this cake. Cake is alive and wants revenge. Oh dear. Well, you've started something there, Nat. I'm afraid we can't offer you any kind of protection at this point. Brilliant. I'm just going to come to gallery view so that we can see everyone. I can see. Yeah, so we've got lots of appreciative faces. Brilliant. That was such a good start. Thank you, Nat. Now, Ian, I think we're going to come to you. I can see that Sina has just joined us. So if you are there, brilliant. We will come to you. We'll give you a little bit of a chance to settle in, Sina, and then we'll come to you after Ian, if that's okay. So you'll have a little bit of time to get yourself sorted. So Ian, I wonder if we could come to you, please, and you may want to launch straight into your rant. You've got a rant for us, I think, or give us a little bit of framing, but I'm going to pass over to you.
Yes, I do indeed have a little bit of a soapbox rant at the moment. Just some thoughts that have been bubbling up inside my head. So just to introduce myself, I'm Ian Coleman, and I'm the UK lead for Impact Science, which is a research, impact and evaluation consultancy. And what I'd like to get to my soapbox about today is about university engagement. In the broad sense, and how this often is fragmented in unhelpful ways, and maybe have some thoughts about what we might do about that. So I've worked in a number of universities in communications, engagement, impact roles, and over the last couple of years I've been working as a consultant with universities, so I've had a quite wide view of how different institutions operate. And okay, it's true, no two universities are quite identical, but there are some commonalities. Most universities these days have some strategic aims about engagement, which they proudly proclaim on their website. And most universities, in fact, do a lot of engagement work. The trouble is, it is fragmented. Over here, we've got public engagement. Over there, there's research impact. Up there, there's business engagement or knowledge exchange. And each of these has skilled and dedicated professionals working in the university to support these activities, usually in different teams, often in different departments, even though they're all doing aspects of the same thing. And that fragmentation isn't just in universities, it's also reflected in the different communities of practice which we have, which are centered around annual conferences. So here we've got Engage, of course, for public engagement. Impact professionals have a particular corner of the annual ARMA conference. Business engagement people have Praxis Oral. So people are coming together at different times in different places. And you can understand why this fragmentation has happened, because universities respond to incentives, they respond to funding opportunities. So yeah, there's lots of grants for public engagement. We better get some professional support in for those activities. Oh, we need impact case studies so we can get money through the ref. Okay, let's get in some impact specialists. Oh, there's funding for working with industry. We can make money from spin-outs. Let's hire some people who know how to talk to business. So it's evolved in this way, which you can understand, but it is time, I think, to take a step back. We've got a lot of people with broadly similar skill sets doing broadly similar jobs, sometimes with broadly similar external partners, and yet often they are sitting in different silos. Now, in some universities, they do recognise these overlaps, but quite often all you can really manage is some regular catch-up meetings between teams and some joint events to share information and expertise. So that's not enough. We've got, sometimes this fragmentation leads to duplication. Sometimes it leads to things falling between the cracks. Either way, it's inefficient and it's failing to make the most of the expertise that universities have within them. So I'm going to suggest that just as universities at the top level like to embrace all this activity under a catch-all theme of engagement, that they should also work strategically and have a single engagement department covering public engagement, research impact, business engagement, knowledge exchange. And these functions might be done by a number of generalists who each see a project through from beginning to end, or this department might continue to have specialists in each of these areas, but under the direction of a single manager who has an overview of all the activities and is responsible for the success of the engagement as a whole. And I think now certainly is the time to do this. Universities are increasingly recognising the importance of being engaged institutions. We've heard a bit about that this week. A lot of universities now are starting to align themselves with the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and these do demand sustained engagement in all kinds of ways. Now, making this happen, of course, is ultimately up to university leadership. But standing here in my soapbox, I would urge those of you who are in a position to influence the university strategy to make the case for a holistic approach to engagement. I believe this would be good for your work, it would be good for the university, and ultimately good for the world. So thank you for listening to my soapbox rant.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. Thank you, Ian. And you can see people clapping in their windows. I wonder if you'd like to put a one-word response or a sentence response in the chat. Do you agree with Ian? Do you think these things need to be connected in more effective ways? I see already that Sarah's saying, well, yeah, that would be great if they could be, but often that ends up being seen to be an efficiency measure and lots of people get made redundant. So you lose a lot of expertise. And indeed, sometimes potentially that those with public engagement expertise, people think that public engagement can serve all these agendas without actually thinking hard about it. So oh yeah, like okay, like yeah, people saying that they agree. I don't know, Maddie, are any comments coming through from our YouTube? Do pitch in if there are.
Yeah, we've actually the YouTube comment is still on the matter of what would you attend conferences and events for, and people are turning to the savoury and to wine as well. So I think perhaps even if people agree with you now on cake, they're saying, well, but you know, for some crisps, someone specifically said crisps and dips, and then we've also got people saying, yeah, but actually wine as well. So I think we get what you're saying, but it seems like people are still tempted by other things. So maybe you should come for the crisps next.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to move on to our next performer, and it is the marvelous Sina. So Sina, I hope you're ready, but I'm going to hand the stage over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sophie, and thank you, Maddie. I'm very pleased to be invited tonight, and just wanted to say something in introduction about why I would sing a French criminal song. That sounds a little bit random, you know. So I just want to give you a bit of context. I'm on the spectrum. like a lot of people, and I am a big advocate of diversity. I happen to tick so many of the boxes, you know, as a person of color, woman, blah, 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 you know, and I will echo what Ian just said about also stop putting people in boxes. And one of the tragedies, because I am truly passionate about inclusion, one of the tragedies I've seen whilst working in outreach, as we call it in museums and galleries, because I'm an artist educator in museums and galleries. So working with people who have been criminalized in the past, a lot of them are actually on the spectrum or have learning differences that have never been picked up due to the fact that, you know, just, it didn't happen in their life. And also maybe they were Black and, you know, people thought they were just a criminal person rather than think maybe this is a disabled person. So anyway, I just want to urge you to, I know there are lots of scientists out there, and to really be the eyes and the heart in the system that really see the people rather than, you know, participants as boxes to tick, and really empower people. So this song is about a couple of people in, it's an old song. It's about a character, sort of Mac the knife, I think, kind of character. It's a bit of a Bonnie and Clyde thing, and he falls for another, you know, kind of common girl, and it takes you through their life of crime and, you know, timely kind of ending. But I hope you enjoy it. It's called La plus batte des Java. Je vais vous raconter une histoire arrivée à Nana et Jules aux gueules d'acier. Pour vous raconter ça, il fallait une Java. J'en ai fait une patte, écoutez-la. Mais je vous préviens surtout, je suis pas poète du tout. Mes couples ne riment pas bien, mais je m'en fous, je m'en fous. Ah, 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 quand Julot et Nana, sur un air de Java, se connurent au bal musette, sur un air de Javette. Elle lui dit, j'ai le béguin, sur un air de Javin. Il répondit, tant mieux, sur un air déjà vieux. Ah, 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 écoutez ça si c'est chouette. Ah, 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 c'est la plus pâtée Java. Ils partirent tous les deux comme deux amoureux à l'hôtel meublé du Pou nerveux. Elle lui dit, j'ai le béguin, da, 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 et lui botta le bas du dos. Elle lui dit, j'ai compris, tu veux de l'argent chérie, j'en aurai à la sueur du nombril. Ah, 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 alors elle s'en alla sur un air de Java, boulevard de la Chapelle, sur un air de Javel. Elle se vendit pour de l'or sur un air de Java, à 3 francs la séance, sur un air de Jouvence. Ah, 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 écoutez ça si c'est chouette. Ah, 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 c'est la plus pâtée Java. Gilo pendant ce temps, ayant besoin d'argent, mijotait un plan extravagant. Il chipa, lui, Julot, une rame de métro qu'il dissimula sous son paletot. Le coup était bien fait, mais juste quand il sortait, une roue péta dans son gilet. Aïe, aïe! Ah, 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 alors on l'arrêta sur un air de Java, mais rouge de colère sur un air de Javert, dans le ventre du flic sur sur un air de Javik. Il planta son eustache sur un air de jeune vache. Ah, écoutez ça si c'est chouette. Ah, c'est la plus pâtée Java. Last verse, Nana pendant ce temps, Nana ne sachant rien, continuait son turban. 6 mois se sont passés un matin. Elle rentre à la maison, mais elle a des frissons et s'arrête devant la prison. L'échafaud se dresse là, Bourroquine s'en fait pas, fait le coup près à la patella. Aïe, 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 Jules vient à petits pas sur un air de Java. C'est lui qu'on assassine sur un air de Javine. Sa tête roule dans le panier sur un air de Javier. Et Nana s'évanouit sur un air de Javouille. Ah, ah, ah. Écoutez ça si c'est chouette. Ah, c'est la plus pâtée Java. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much, Sina. Wow. That was brilliant. And I tell you what, I would be really interested to see if other people had any notion of the story, because I have a very rudimentary grasp of French, but your expression of the music, I have this whole narrative laid out in my head. Has anyone else done that? I wonder whether can anyone put a summary of the story in the chat, and Sina, you'll have to tell us whether we're right or not.
Can I just say very quickly, it's the kind of storytelling song that is a folk song basically. So not only is it in French, but it's in old French, old slangy French, kind of, almost like possibly Cockney, kind of that Cockney, with Rosie Lee and all that stuff like that. That not everyone would understand. So it's like from the 1930s, and it's from some what would have been seen at the time, I'm sorry for the expression, but low life, kind of petty criminals. But how resourceful, what I love about the song is how resourceful they are and how interesting their life is. And yes, he does die young, but hey, he's lived a good life,
Oh, amazing. I have to say, I hadn't even thought that death would occur in it. It was such a cheerful sounding song. I had a happy ending in my head.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, Sina. Now, I have to say, I can see that my Zoom is just about to crash. So I wonder, Sophie, if I might be able to pre-warn you. I've sort of lost the ability to click on anything. I'm hoping we can go to Sarah next. But Sophie, I'm just going to hand over to you to do the introductions, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Sina. And now we're going to go over to Sarah, and I'm just looking for you, Sarah, so I can spotlight you, but I can't. Oh, thank you for waving us. My eyesight is not very good on this screen. So I'm going to spotlight you, and we're ready for you. Is that all right?
Yep. Yeah. Hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay. Thanks, Sina. Thanks, Sophie. This is really going to be a slight change of pace, but I hope that's okay. So for the past 5 years, I've been working as the engagement lead on a medical humanities project about breathing and breathlessness called Life of Breath. And the project's just ended this year, which is slightly ironic given that breathlessness has hit the mainstream with both the fear of COVID-induced breathlessness and also with the Black Lives Matter using I Can't Breathe, which is the dying words of both George Floyd and Eric Garner as their rally call. Also, at the start of this year, I decided after practicing for 25 years to train as a yoga teacher. Now, I am well aware that a lot of people on hearing the words yoga have very negative reactions to that. And I do understand why it does have a little bit of an image problem, but part of that image problem is because of the mainstream narrative that puts the responsibility for physical and mental health onto individuals and away from the structures which perpetuate those problems. And it's at odds with my personal experience of it as well. So I want to bring you a little bit of a kind of breath practice today, because right now breath is one of the few things that we really truly have control over. And to sort of headline that, I want to read a little bit first of all from a fantastic blog post that a young woman called Chloe Asker wrote for our blog called McMindfulness and the Politics of Breath. Coming to the breath can be a radical refusal of the forces of neoliberal governmentality and white supremacy that ingrain a Protestant work ethic and 24/7 culture. For some, being in stillness and slowness through the breath is a form of embodied politics that works to disrupt the cult of speed and the very pace that capitalism demands, as ultimately all you have to do is breathe. So, as I say, I'm going to offer you a little bit of yoga inspired practice. It's an invitation. Join in if you want to. Don't join in. It's fine. Freestyle. Do whatever you want. It's all good. If nothing else, just use it as a moment of quiet, which is something we don't get enough of, I think, nowadays. So to start with, I'm going to invite you, if you want, to take a little bit of movement that feels good to you. Maybe you want to stand up and have a good stretch. Maybe doing sort of swinging your arms from side to side can feel quite good if you've been sitting down too much. Maybe rotating the hips, or if you've got a chair or something nearby, it can feel really good to have a really good stretch from the back of the chair. And just do something that just helps you to just move some of those bits that have been a bit stiff from sitting down for too long. And a good thing about doing a little bit of movement first is it helps to bring our attention from the head into the body instead. So once you've had a good stretch, if you would like to, then come and sit back down again. And just sitting up nice and tall, nothing special, put your hands wherever you like. And but I am going to suggest that you either close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that, or at least look away from the camera and just bring your attention inwards. And just see what you start to notice. Maybe you start to notice your breath or the movement of your chest up and down as you breathe. Maybe you can notice sensation elsewhere in your body, from big sensations like your feet resting on the ground, your hips, the backs of your legs on the chair maybe, your hands on your legs. Maybe there's some more subtle sensations, tingling, warmth, coolness. Just settling in and enjoying a little moment of quiet. And trying to make the next breath that you take the deepest breath that you've taken all day. Really filling the lungs. And then as you exhale, think about really relaxing your shoulders down and just letting anything fall away that you're ready to let go of. We'll take another breath like that, breathing in, lovely deep breath. And then as you breathe out, just relaxing and letting things go. And then when you're ready, just coming back to join us. Thank you.
I don't really want to disrupt the quiet. I think that we all appreciate having that. Thank you so much, Sarah. I think people are clapping. There are people responding in the live chat on a live stream who have been really enjoying and appreciating that. And yeah,
You're
if you want to
welcome.
put reactions into the chat, and what a joy and a gift that really was. Thank you so much, Sarah. And I am sorry that I interrupted your quiet, because wasn't that beautiful? So our final act is Jess. So I think Jess is there. Is Jess there? Wave at me. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Jess. Let me just spotlight you, and then I'm going to hand the stage over to you.
So Jess, you've sent us a video, haven't you? So what we'll do is we'll play the video with your incredible soundscape, and then we'll come back to you afterwards. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's great.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's do that. So Jamie, I'm going to spotlight you so you can play the video.
Good afternoon, Engage. My name's Jess. I'm a public engagement professional from the Cambridge Institute for Medical Research. I'm also an independent musician, producer and audio engineer, but today I'm going to be presenting some of my own research into climate change through an immersive audio installation. So in particular, I was thinking a lot about our changing environment, and I soundtracked what it might be like to be at the Larsen Ice Shelf. So I'm going to try and put you in that environment, and you can tell me how you feel and what you think afterwards. So if you have some headphones, now's a good chance to grab them. If you don't, that's absolutely fine, but just make sure that your audio isn't on in Zoom, as it will disrupt other people's listening and experience of the immersive audio installation. Okay, so here we go. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. I have put my contact details here. Please feel free to contact me. I'm particularly interested in collaborating more around this area if anyone is looking to use music to open up their work or researchers' work. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jess. Oh, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but
We can hear you. We can hear you, Maddie. Okay, we lost Maddie. Then you've got me again. Jess, I think, would you like to say a few more words about the project now we've experienced the soundscape? Is that what you're expecting? That's what I think I'm expecting.
To be honest, I wasn't sure what people would want to know, and I kind of originally I prepared quite a bit more around like the benefits of using music, and but also like thinking about music and like the psychogeography of like approaching like the storytelling of a place.
Great. Well, the stage is yours, Jess. So you have a few minutes. Why don't you tell us a bit more?
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I can talk a little bit more about the approach. So, the engineering and the composition are kind of equally as important. So the composition is kind of like the initial storytelling, but then the engineering sets the music in place. And engineering is things like I have somebody saying in the in the chat, psychogeography, yes. Yeah, so the engineering is things like cutting away certain frequencies, so so things sound like they're underwater or they don't. So it's actually like kind of like physics, really. And then like picking certain sounds that you know come from places or people associate with certain places. So like the flock of birds, things like albatross, seagulls, that kind of like endemic bird species in Antarctica. So yeah, that was the kind of the general the general sort of idea from it, and I tried not to get it sound too warm, but also tried to make it feel kind of hopeful, so it doesn't feel really like doom and gloom, because that's the other thing with like changing environment, and climate change is quite a difficult thing to communicate. But yeah, it's also interesting. I think a lot of the things we've been talking a bit about this week is this sort of civic approach, and maybe thinking a bit about disciplines like outside of science that we can use for storytelling certain things. So yeah, I don't know what people would like to know, so I'm happy to just leave it there, and
do you know, Jess, that sounds great, and I think that there's a lot of appreciation for your work on the live stream and also in this meeting here today. So thank you so much for being prepared to come and share. And I think I'm right in saying that Maddie's back. So Maddie, I'm going to hand to you if you're still around.
I am. I'm so sorry. It feels so rude to just keep disappearing, but that is how Zoom is treating me this week. So apologies, but thank you so much, Jess. And again, we're going to put your video up on the notice board just so that other people can see it and experience it. Because yeah, it was brilliant. I have a question for you. Just how long it takes to make something like that? Because I'm sure it's lots of hard work. It must be quite an involved process.
Yeah, yeah, it is. So there's like the composing and the like almost like the songwriting or the storytelling, and then the engineering. There's like mixing, and then there's mastering. And actually what I played is kind of like a work, I say like a work in progress, or like a demo. It's not completely finished. Maybe that's classic musician, but yeah, it does take so much longer than I think most people think when they pay for like a song on Apple or listen to it on Spotify. People don't realize like the hours, sometimes years, that have gone into like an album and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, yeah, thank you so much for sharing. It's absolutely fascinating. Yeah, as Sophie said, I've just been, I mean, when I dropped out of the meeting, I was watching on the live stream until I reconnected. So it's been useful in that sense. So yes, just looking at the live stream comments, people were loving it. And also Sarah as well, your breathing exercise, people were loving it as well. And Dawn was saying it's given her more energy. So I think that's, yeah, I think we've definitely found those last two. We had the quiet breathing and then the lovely kind of ethereal soundscape, which was absolutely brilliant. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. Well, those were all of our performers, and I hope everyone, you feeling inspired. And what we would like to do, if you are feeling particularly inspired, is just to see, you know, does anyone have something that they would like to share? I mean, you've seen what's been on offer. Has this inspired anyone? Are any of you sitting there thinking, do you know what? I wish I'd gone for it. You know, we're just going to put it out there. Just going to put it out there. I feel like maybe if I leave a long enough pause. No, don't worry. I'm not going to pressure anyone into doing it. But please do give us a wave if you fancy taking to the floor, because it's an open mic, so we're expecting sort of spontaneity. So please do give us a shout if you fancy it. But while we're maybe seeing if anyone would like to plug up the courage to do so, at the beginning we set you a bit of a creative task, and I would love to see what people have come up with. So at the beginning, we said to you, take inspiration from the acts that you see tonight. Take inspiration, see what you can create. I can see that we've got some light bullying happening in the chat around Carl's jumper. So I mean, do you have some sort of skit prepared, Carl? Is that it's just your jumper? Okay, well let's shut down the comments. We're not going to tolerate that. But it is a brilliant jumper, Carl. We'll say that. So the creative challenge. Has anyone created anything? I mean, earlier we saw Claudia. We saw your drawing of the cake seeking revenge. I can see Sarah. You've put something. Oh, okay, right. Hang fire. I'm going to spotlight some. And if you would like to explain what you've done and what you've taken inspiration from, please unmute yourself and say, right, Sarah, I'm coming to you first because I spotted your drawings. So I'm going to spotlight you so everyone can see what you have created. Go on, hold it up again.
So can you hear me? I put my headphones on for the music. Yeah,
yes,
cool.
I can hear you.
And I didn't do anything to my microphone, so it's... I drew you guys. Let's put this in front of my face. You don't need to see my face. So sorry if I drew you. I just went along the people who had their videos on / were performing, and this is you guys. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Does it mean anything that some people are just kind of ghostly figures and some people are drawn in actual pen? Is that significant?
No, I drew them all in pencil first and I hadn't got round to finishing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You're very good at drawing, and we could see who they all were. What a nice memory of the evening. I loved it. I'm feeling slightly like I don't want to share my offering now. So let's move to someone else, Maddie.
This
quickly.
is Nat.
Who else?
Oh right, Nat was complaining she's not on there, but she's on there. Go over her in pen, and then she'll feel special. Okay. Right, hold up your creations again. Okay, Lorraine. Oh my gosh, I'm going to come to you because I can see something that looks amazing. Hang on, let me spotlight you.
It's really not because but I didn't realise I was so violent. I think Nat's brought something out to me. So just all the things that people have been talking about, like that 24/7 culture and being disconnected and prejudices and climate change, and we're bashing them. So nice. I'm hoping I'm not going to stay like that though.
Get it all out. Hopefully that drawing has brought all the anger out and you can sort of go forward peacefully from now on. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Lorraine. Okay, let's see. Who else? Hold up your drawings again so that I can see. Okay. All right, I can see. Fergus, I'm going to come and see. Oh, you've got some music type inspiration. I'm going to spotlight you. Let's have a look. Is there anything you want to say about your creation?
Oh, so I don't know if it's very clear because I think some of it's in pencil, but I just sort of, I guess as you can probably see, this is kind of a journey through the night. I just wanted something to kind of remind me of what each presenter was talking about. So we've kind of got a cake with a big cross through it, and then sort of working our way through different bits. This is meant to be the word engage sort of breaking itself down. I don't think that comes across very clearly. The lungs, I wish that I'd have spent more time not focusing on drawing the lungs and more. I tried to do some breathing as well at the same time. But this was, yeah, I mean, this was more just for myself. And then here, this is meant to be sort of starting very thick and then sort of slowly fading out as we go across. More to give myself a memory of what everyone had to say more than anything else. But also just to share with you all that I clearly do not know what a guitar looks like.
I think that's brilliant. Oh, thank you, Fergus. Oh, amazing. All right, I'm going to do one last sweep of my screen. Anyone do something that wasn't a drawing? Has anyone come up with something?
I saw something. Somebody was holding up something that looked like something that they'd made, but I don't know if they've gone or they don't want to show it anymore, but it looked really intriguing.
Oh.
No, I can't see who it was. Oh,
Was
that's
it me?
Yes, let's say it was. Yes, it was. Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, I'm going to spotlight you.
But this is cheating, right? So this is what I made. It is a poinsettia to put on my Christmas wreath. But it's because I was just in the session with Bentley about mouse exchange before coming into this. And so this is Frank, who was the mouse that my colleague made and posted to me and that I've been caring for the last few weeks. And because we'd been playing with the felt all the time through the last session, when you said I could make something during this one, I was like, it's got to be felt and tactile. So I just pleasantly sat making Christmas things whilst
lovely.
imbuing, I don't know, them with the spirit of everything you've been talking about.
So you were generally inspired, just in general, to create. I think that's great. I think that's brilliant.
And I think your poinsettia had 5 petals for each of our performers. Is that right? Were the 5 performers?
Exactly that. Exactly that. Well done.
Oh, and Alexa's saying I made a birthday cake, half eaten by now. Did you make that? You haven't made that and finished it the whole time we've been going, have you? That's very impressive, if so. Oh, amazing. Sophie, I feel like you held something up to the screen when I asked.
Yeah, but I've got a background on, so you can't really see it. And also, like, I kind of feel slightly embarrassed about it now, but wherever I am, somewhere.
Oh, it does disappear into the background.
No, just a minute. Let me just stand in front of it. Can you see it now?
No, it just disappears.
Can you not see it now? Okay, let me tell you what I've drawn, because I do visual notes taking and it helps me think. So anyone who knows me knows that if I'm listening, I'm writing. And what it made me think about was, my first thing was about this idea that cake wasn't the answer, which kind of slightly panicked me. And then we had this amazing call to see the system, and then this beautiful French song that really took us somewhere different. And then we had that kind of idea of the world being fragmented and the public engagement landscape being fragmented. And then we had the centering of kind of breathing, you know, like, and how we can recenter ourselves and give ourselves a bit of space. And then that went into the kind of the beautiful soundscape and thinking about how we might engage differently with research. And I thought all of those things kind of fed together in a rather beautiful way. And I don't know. So I tried to draw that.
Fab. Thank you, Sophie. Oh, I think that's brilliant. I'm glad everyone's been inspired. And it also, I mean, the theme of the evening seems to have been cake, and with Alexa's comment about making birthday cake, that's definitely making me think that I would like a slice of cake after this. Now, I'm just going to offer again, just in case anyone is feeling inspired, just in case anyone has a quick spot they want to do, I'm just going to put the offer out there again, just in case.
Be brave. Be brave.
I feel like we're being mean.
I don't think it's mean to offer the opportunity. I think it's mean to say, oh, I'll offer the opportunity and I'm going to choose you and you have to do it.
That
That's
would be mean.
But I don't think it's mean to say, if there's somebody who, and often we do feel inspired. We hear somebody sing, or we hear somebody talk about their work, and we think, or that we hear somebody rant about something and we think, I want to share my rant too. But it looks like our guests are all keeping their mics off. They're all keeping their mics off and they're not making eye contact. So I'm guessing that means that our guests are content with being an audience for the performance and reflecting on that, then wanting to showcase their own rants, stories, songs. Is that right? Final chance. Then the door for this evening.
Oh, Carl, are you waving?
Oh, I feel like we need to do a drum roll. No?
Is it worth it, Carl? Is it worth the drum roll? I'm spotlighting you.
It's probably not worth it. Yeah, I just wanted to highlight, I posted this on the Engage Padlet earlier, but at LSHTM, the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, we've been running a podcast from just after the announcement that COVID was happening. And we originally decided to just see if we could do it. And we decided to run a podcast every day during everything that was going on. And very, very quickly, we found out that that was completely impossible and would drive us all nuts. Now we're doing it weekly, and we've now entered our second season. So the first season was all about COVID. The second season was about planetary health. But today I released a podcast about the news about the new vaccine. So I was editing that last night, got it finished at about 1:30. If you look for LSHTM Viral, I just like to get some feedback from what people in the community think about what we're doing. It's basically 3 of us do it with very little equipment. Unlike was it the vaccine task force were given £675,000 for PR and a podcast. I think our entire budget's been about £67. So it would just be really nice to hear what people think. So that's kind of all I wanted to ask and say. So.
Thanks, Carl. Has it taught you anything, the process of making a podcast? I mean, apart from that, doing it daily is probably a bit of a stretch, but have you got any key learning to take away from it?
I think the main things that came out of it was if you want to do a podcast, the editing will take about an order of magnitude longer than the recording itself, no matter what you're doing. So that's one thing. And if you're doing recording, Zoom's okay for recording, but it works out a lot better if you can get people to record locally and then send you the information, which makes editing harder, but it does increase the sound quality a lot. So, and it's lots of fun. If you can plan in advance as well, that's really, really good.
Planning in advance is not something that we're all having a good time in 2020. I think is that's the problem. Thanks, Carl. No, that's great. Yeah, put a link in the chat so that we can all have a listen. That's brilliant. Thank you. And I can see. I mean, Claudia, you said you wanted to sign up.
You want encouragement? Do we need to encourage you, or do you want to step away?
No, I mean, I'm only live stream on YouTube, so I'm sure that no one's watching that, right?
21 whole people watching you.
Can I say that the 21 who are watching are the most supportive audience I've ever seen on YouTube Live? They are absolutely amazing. So thank you to our lovely audience, and I expect you'll be just as kind to the marvelous Claudia.
Right, so this is an encounter I had with a climate change denier. So I thought this would be an interesting audience to share that with. So I was at a Christmas fair, so it's in a rural area, so it's the classic framework of I have absolutely no idea who's going to turn up. And it could be that the people that do turn up might have very, very different views from you in many, many different ways. So someone approaches me from a stand that had a quite clear religious connotation. And I'm like, great. I'm here representing an obviously scientific institution. This is going to be fun. And being a physicist, let's say climate change is up there together with flat earthers. But this one was not a flat earther, was a person that really, really wanted to know about the influence that the sun had on our climate. And I said, well, surely it does. I'm not sure I can really quantify the point we are at the solar cycle and how sunspots work and stuff like that. So I was like, yay, solar physics for the win today at the Christmas fair in rural Wales. It's going to go great. And then this person asks me about, but then maybe it's not actually human made, right? Because the sun changes everything. I was like, I'm going to try with no there. But clearly this was someone that had really, really spent a long time doing their research. And here I really want to dispel a myth about people that believe in, what we generally call anti-science, pseudoscience, hoaxes, etc. These people actually know what they're talking about. They read and they know their stuff. So if you make your assumptions about them, that you know more than them, that's absolutely wrong. And they're going to roast you. So it's not only a matter of not patronizing your audience, you have to be ready for what is coming for you. And you have to really keep an open mind and to engage with people on really, really the same level, because otherwise that's exactly what they want you to be. They want you to fall in your convictions. They want you to not hold your point so that they can prove you wrong. Instead, if you try to really have a respectful conversation with people and saying, you know, okay, I hear where you're coming from, then maybe you can actually resolve that in a much more peaceful and meaningful way, trying as much as possible to dispel incorrect assumptions, but also trying to agree to disagree. So even though I couldn't completely take this person on board, that a massive fraction of the things that we observe today in our atmosphere about climate does have a very, very meaningful contribution caused by humans. What we did get to is that at the end of the day, recycling, reducing your travel, reducing your meat consumption, and a number of other actions that individuals can take together with pressure on corporations, we actually got there to agree that no matter how you see it, this stuff is going to be good for the planet. So if I prompted him to take some positive action in reducing his impact on the environment, that's a win. Do I care that that person might go back to climate denying blogs? Yes, I do care a little bit. But what I care about the most is that we could still agree on an agenda on saving the planet is a good thing, and the effects on climate are connected to what we do every day and our lifestyle, and how this is massively caused by a Western lifestyle. So I may not have completely changed their mind, but at least I didn't bite their head off.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you for being prepared to share your experiences. And I think there's some talk in the chat that really resonates, I think, what we were talking about in the opening plenary for those of you who are engaged, that actually was all about how do we create spaces, safe spaces to for dissension, for disagreement, to look at controversial attitudes and ideas, and how do we make those safe spaces so that people can explore different aspects of research or science in a way that's respectful and is helpful. So thank you for bringing that theme into the open mic. So we're coming to the end of our session. I know that we've been looking to see if any of our audience out there on the live stream really want to join in, but I think that nobody seems to be volunteering for that. So last chance, you have 30 seconds, last chance. Anyone else with something that they'd like to say or share?
I think we totally exhausted everyone during the day, Sophie, and everyone just came to sit and watch, and now picking on them.
Brilliant, brilliant. Just checking. I am just checking. Lots of people have turned their cameras off so that I can't accidentally volunteer them by mistake.
It's like in does it Take Me Out, where the lights go off as soon as someone comes down? Boo, boo, everyone's turning off their cameras so they don't get caught.
And I'm getting completely distracted because the live stream, we've got it on our a second screen so that we can keep up with the chat and bring it in. But it means that it's all kind of following behind. So it looks like I'm talking, but I'm not talking. Just completely kind of makes me feel a bit odd. So Maddie, are you going to close us off?
I think I will do, yeah. Well, thank you all so much, and thank you to our performers. I'm going to go through you all. I think you're all still in the room. So we had Nat with her incredible, epic piece of filmography, which, yeah, we'll share on the notice board for those who want to see it again. And then we came to Ian. I think Ian's still there. Yes, Ian's still there. Thank you for your rant, and I think it resonated with lots and lots of people. And then after that, we came to Sina with your incredible song. Thank you so much. And I think you shared the kind of source of the song and who it was by in the chat. So thank you so much for that. And I didn't get to tell you, but there was lots of positive feedback on your song in the live chat, as the live stream as well. So people were loving that. And then we had a moment of quiet with Sarah, which was lovely. And I think after this, I think everyone will be just kind of sitting in silence, because it did feel good to do that. And then followed up with Jess, your incredible soundscape, which it wasn't silence, but it was still incredibly soothing, and also made me want an ice cream. I don't know whether that's allowed, but that's what it inspired in me, I think. I want for ice cream. And then, of course, thank you to Carl and Claudia for your impromptu your taking to the floor. So that was brilliant. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for all your creative creations. I don't know what else to call them. Please share them, put them on Twitter if you'd like, and we'll retweet them, because it's brilliant to have a nice record of the evening. But that's it for tonight. I hope you've had a good day. I hope this has been a nice kind of fun way to finish off the day. We've got one more day at Engage. Can you believe it? Just one more day. I'm so looking forward to it. Who is joining us tomorrow for sessions? Wave at me if you'll be in sessions tomorrow. Oh, fantastic. So hopefully we will see your smiling faces there again tomorrow. What time's the plenary tomorrow, Sophie? It's in the afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at 2 o'clock. So we hope we'll see as many of you there as possible to jointly have a kind of think about what we've learned over the conference, and thinking a little bit about the futures of engagement and how we might support one another as we move forward.
Brilliant. Well, we'll see you there. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Love that sound effect. Jamie, I would like you to follow me around and play that everywhere I go.